was a news headline that you may have seen last week. You may have glossed over it. It was the U.S. cuts $65 million in funding to UNRWA, which is over half of the budget normally sent to them. I want to talk about why this is such a big deal, what the implications are, and why it could be catastrophic. UNRWA is the UN Relief and Works Agency that was set up in 1949 to address the Palestinian refugee crisis. As a result of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, you had over 750,000 Palestinians displaced, which at the time was over half of the estimated population. UNRWA actually predates the UNHCR, so the organization for the UN that works with refugees worldwide does not work with Palestinian refugees. Only UNRWA does. And currently you have 5.4 million Palestinian refugees registered with UNRWA in Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, the Palestinian Authority of the West Bank, and Gaza. There are 58 Palestinian refugee camps throughout the region. Now, Palestinians are stateless, and as a refugee, that means you don't have citizenship, which means you don't fall under the protection of any country. So the basic human rights that you and I take for granted are not accessible. UNRWA provides basic services for Palestinians, whether that's education, healthcare, infrastructure, or emergency assistance. Many Palestinians are caught in conflict zones, active conflict zones. Now, along with $65 million in cuts, the United States had promised $45 million in December for emergency fund for Gaza for food assistance. The check was supposed to be finalized and cut the first week in January, and it has not been. So they are withholding that as well, leaving millions in Gaza in limbo. This past week, Belgium and the Netherlands have pledged a little under $40 million to make up for the shortfall. England has recently pledged $70 million. That's over a few years that these countries are giving the money. So there's still a shortfall, and my concern is how is this going to play out in the lives of everyday people? Does it mean schools will close? For many children, UNRWA schools are the only opportunity they have at an education. Clinics will close. Will Palestinians who need insulin not be able to get that anymore? UNRWA also employs 30,000 people, most of whom are refugees, who would not be able to find legal work without UNRWA. And then you have over 500,000 Palestinian refugees in Syria, 2/3 of which are displaced. So they're double refugees. So are the emergency funds going to be stopped for them as well? I don't know how this is going to play out. I did read recently that dozens of teachers in East Jerusalem and the West Bank were let go, along with over 100 workers in the 13 camps in Jordan were also let go. I've been on the ground in several camps in several countries, and I can say this without being dramatic. I do believe that many Palestinians would not be alive today without UNRWA services. And I wish things were black and white in the Middle East. I wish things were black and white in a refugee camp. They're not. And I do think at some point in time we do need to discuss how to make UNRWA better and how to reform it. But pulling millions of dollars in funding for millions of refugees that depend on it for survival and whose lives are going to hang in the balance as a result is not the way forward. The situation is fluid. Every day there's something new that happens in it, so I am watching it as closely as I can. I'm going to continue to post articles to keep you all updated, and as soon as we see how it plays out on the ground, my number one concern is how this is going to affect the people that we serve, how this is going to affect the everyday Palestinian. Hopefully we can come up with some options on how we can help. Stay tuned.